So you're going about your day. You go to the bathroom and you see a little bit of unexpected spotting. And just like that, your mind starts racing a million miles an hour. Is this my period coming early? Or could this be it? Could this be the very first sign of pregnancy? It's a question that can fill you with so much hope and, yeah, a little bit of stress too. Today we're going to clear up that confusion and get you some real solid answers.
Right? It's that moment of uncertainty that just sends you spiraling down a Google rabbit hole. Is my period just a few days early? What did I eat? Or is this it, the thing I've been waiting for? Trust me, you are not alone in feeling this way, and we're here to help you sort through all the clues, one by one. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the facts about this mysterious spotting. Then we'll dive into the incredible process that's happening inside your body. It's truly amazing. After that, we'll play detective and compare the symptoms head to head. Then we'll look for some other clues, and we'll wrap it all up with clear, actionable steps you can take. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, first things first. We hear a lot about implantation bleeding, so it's easy to think it's something that happens to everyone. But it's not a universal experience at all. So if you've never had it, or you're not seeing it now, that is completely and totally normal.
You might actually be pretty surprised to learn this, but implantation bleeding is, well, it's not that common. The data shows that only about a quarter, maybe up to a third of pregnant women actually report experiencing it. So the most important thing to take away from this is that if you don't see any spotting, it means absolutely nothing about your chances. It's just not a sign that everyone gets.
So what in the world is causing this spotting in the first place? Well, it all comes down to a truly incredible biological process created by God. It's called implantation. Let's take a closer look at what's happening on a microscopic level. It's pretty mind-blowing. To put it simply, implantation bleeding is just the light spotting that can happen when a fertilized egg, which is now a tiny little cluster of cells called a blastocyst, finds its home and attaches to the wall of your uterus. This isn't a sign of a problem. It's a completely normal, healthy part of the journey to establishing a pregnancy.
So this whole process happens in three main stages. First, the blastocyst kind of floats around and makes contact with the uterine wall. Then step 2, it adheres. It literally sticks to that nice receptive lining. And now for the final, crucial step, invasion. And yeah, that's the part that causes the spotting. The blastocyst actually burrows deep into that blood-rich lining to connect with your body, and it's this burrowing that can disturb a few tiny blood vessels, causing that little bit of bleeding. And now, for the main event. How in the world do you tell these two apart? It is time to put on your detective hat. We are going to examine all the evidence, clue by clue, starting with maybe the most obvious one, timing.
Clue number 1 is all about the calendar. Implantation bleeding typically happens somewhere between 6 and 12 days after you ovulate. Now, this timing is absolutely key because for a lot of women, that puts this spotting just a few days before their period is actually due. And that right there is exactly why it's so easy to get them mixed up. Okay, our second clue is the flow. And believe me, this is a major difference. Implantation bleeding is almost always super light. I'm talking spotting. Maybe a few little streaks you only notice when you wipe. It's usually not enough to need more than a panty liner. A period, as you know, might start light, but it pretty quickly ramps up into a steady, heavier flow that definitely needs a pad or a tampon.
Next up, let's investigate the color. This is another big tell. Implantation bleeding is often a light pink, sometimes a bit orangey, but very commonly it's a dark brown. And that brown color is a huge clue. It means it's older blood. It's just taken a little while for that tiny amount to make its way out. Your period, on the other hand, usually starts with fresher, bright red blood.
The cramping is another really interesting clue. Menstrual cramps can be that dull, intense ache that we all know, but implantation cramps, they're often described very differently. People report a much milder sensation. Sometimes it's a little pulling feeling or a faint pricking, maybe even a slight tingling in the lower belly. It's just different. And now for the single biggest giveaway. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from our little investigation today, make it this one. Clots. Implantation bleeding does not involve shedding your uterine lining. Therefore, it will never, ever contain blood clots or tissue. If you see clots of any size, you can be 100% certain it is your period and not implantation bleeding. It is the most definitive clue you have. Full stop.
So let's put it all together in our detective's cheat sheet. Here on this table, you can see all those clues we just talked about, side by side. You've got the timing, the duration, the flow, the color, the type of cramping, and of course, the big one, the absolute difference maker, clots. This gives you a really clear checklist to compare your symptoms against. Spotting rarely happens in a vacuum, you know? To get the full picture, you really need to look for other signals your body might be sending you around the same time. Let's look at the other pieces of the puzzle.
So while you're analyzing the spotting, don't forget about these other classic signs of early pregnancy. Things like your breasts feeling extra tender or swollen, being unusually tired, a little bit of nausea. These can all start popping up right around the same time as implantation. If your spotting comes with a few of these friends, well, that definitely strengthens the case for pregnancy.
Okay, so you've analyzed the clues, you've looked at the bigger picture, and you have a theory. So what do you do now? This final section is all about turning your observations into a clear, straightforward plan.
This is the million-dollar question, right? You just want to know for sure. I get it. But testing too early can give you a false negative and just lead to more confusion and heartache. So with this, timing is absolutely everything.
You see, it takes time for the pregnancy hormone, HCG, to build up in your system to a level that a home test can actually detect in your urine. Testing on the day you see spotting is almost certainly too early. But if you can wait at least 3 days after the spotting stops, you give that HCG a much better chance to rise. And for the most accurate, reliable result, the gold standard is to wait until a full week after your period was due. I know waiting is hard, but it's worth it for a clear answer.
And this is absolutely vital to remember, okay? While implantation bleeding is normal and common, any kind of bleeding during a potential or confirmed pregnancy is something you should mention to your doctor or healthcare provider. It's always better to be safe and just keep them in the loop. Finally, let's be crystal clear about the red flags. If your bleeding is heavy, like soaking a pad heavy, if you are passing clots or what looks like tissue, or if you have severe, sharp pain, especially if it's just on one side, these are not signs of implantation bleeding. If you feel dizzy, faint, or have pain in your shoulder, you need to call your doctor immediately. These could be signs of something more serious, like a miscarriage or an ectopic pregnancy, and they require immediate medical attention. When you get right down to it, understanding these subtle signs can help turn a moment of real anxiety into one of clarity and maybe even excitement. It's truly fascinating how a tiny, almost unnoticeable event happening deep inside your body can produce this small external clue, a potential first little whisper of an incredible journey to come.